when I recognized that I started feeling this anxiety and all these things that just wasn't used to, I'm just like, no. Like I like this is my home. I pay bills here. Like I shouldn't be feeling this uncomfortable in my home because someone is coming, and like me anticipating their arrival is causing me so much anxiety. Like anxiety, I'm not used to being anxious, like literally be anxious for nothing. Yeah, I'm used to following that and not being anxious about anything. And when I recognized this thing was bringing me anxiety, and it was, I guess, kind of stressful, it was leading to that, I'm like, oh no, I gotta shut this down right now.
To some, boundaries are just placing limits. To me, it's where the limitless things begin.
Hello, 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 and thank you for tuning into the Boundaries and More podcast with Jess Abraham. I'm your host, Jess Abraham, your favorite boundaries coach, and today's episode is brought to you by Joyful Styles. Joyful Styles is a lifestyle brand that provides premium quality apparel that promotes joy and positivity. Joyful Styles believes how we approach a situation matters, and choosing to be joyful makes all the difference. You have the power, and it's time to embrace it. So get your Joyful Styles apparel at joyfulstyles.com. That's JoyfulStylez.com. Let's go, y'all. Look, I am super excited to get into this episode today. But before we do, I want to remind those of you who have not yet taken that boundaries quiz to take some time out today, right now, to take that boundaries quiz. Y'all, it's 2 minutes or less of your time. Get a gauge of where you are so that you know how to make moves going forward, okay? So look, y'all, take some time out to take that boundaries quiz. The link is in the show notes for you. However, you can also text me, all right? Text me the word boundaries to 210-801-9153, and I'll get that sent right over to you, y'all. Again, 2 minutes or less of your time. Stop playing games, okay? Look, y'all, all right. I'm excited to get into this today, so I'm going to get into this today. So last week we talked about why boundaries are important. And man, if you have not listened to that episode, go back and listen to that episode, okay, as well. But y'all, like today, I want to talk a bit about recognizing personal boundaries, right? Because I believe, right, we all, I really do believe that we all have some type of boundaries, right? Now, whether they're healthy and or effective, it's another story, okay? And that's why we're here, because I'm telling you, y'all, all boundaries, again, I mentioned this last week, but all boundaries are not created equal, and all boundaries are not healthy and effective. You might have these boundaries, but it can be a hindrance in your life. And we don't want that, right? We want you to have a more harmonious life, right? That really do these things and have that life that really brings you the most joy, y'all. Like that's important, okay? At least it's important to me for you. And this is why I'm here. Like, y'all, yeah. So I want to I'll start here, y'all. So when we talking about recognizing your personal boundaries, again, I think we all have some. Again, depends if it's healthy, effective or not. So for you, some things that you can do to recognize. I'll get into those things, but I want to start here with what I've like things I've recognized about myself. Like before I even had a name on it, y'all. Like I mentioned this before in many episodes. Like it was years ago. Like really, I've been doing this work for well over a decade. Um, Definitely, probably even closer to 15 or more years. Like really doing it right, like and helping people in that way. But what I noticed back then, I didn't really have a word for really what I was doing and how I was really helping people. And then it wasn't until about let me see, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe now, that I really put the boundaries on it. Like I knew what boundaries were and what I've been doing, but I didn't realize, like, I guess in a sense, my specialty in that way. Because y'all, I mentioned this like last episode, like it's literally my life. I live this life. I I do things in this way, and it's just natural to me. It's just my natural way of being. So it's like literally ingrained in who I am and how I am. So again, it was just me living my life, but I really got again about 3 4 years ago or so now, I think probably about 4 years ago. But either way, I really was able to put words to how I was helping other people too. And I mean, again, that's what I was doing. But y'all, I really, one of the things I recognized about myself is that I've never been big on surrounding myself with all type of people. Like it did just never been my thing. And especially y'all, especially not those people who are fake. Like y'all know y'all got some fake people around and in y'all lives. Like y'all know who they are, right? They might be in the workplace, they might be in your family, they might be like wherever they are, you know them, right? But sometimes you just continue to surround yourself with them for whatever reason, right? I'm gonna get into some of those um things later, but it's like, y'all, I want to tell y'all about this. I remember one time when I was in the military and I was leaving one of my units, right? And normally when people leave the unit, they have this like little formal going away thing at the office, and um, some some of the leadership team say these things about this person, and they present this specific gift or whatever. Like it just be all type of whatever, right? I'm gonna tell y'all what I call it in a minute. But like, so they would normally do that. And so I knew personally when I was leaving the unit, when it was gonna be my time to leave, that I didn't want that. Like, like okay, I know why people try to do that, or would they make it seem like, but y'all, I told them, my specific direct leadership team, well, leadership, actually my supervisor at the time, I told him like, yo, what I don't want is a rent a crowd. Like I'm just not about that. I'm not big on rent a crowds. Like, and that's what I would call them. Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm cool on the rent a crowd. Don't send out no emails to know this person, because I don't want specific people there because they're fake, and I want nothing to do with them. And I definitely don't want them to be fake celebrating me as this is a good time for me. I was excited to go to my next duty station and things of that sort, right? And although I was leaving some really great friendships and great times and things like that, it was just an exciting transition for me. But y'all, like I told him, like, yeah, I don't want to rent a crowd, so we're not gonna do that. So right, y'all, that was me. That's one of my personal boundaries. I don't want to be surrounded by like fake people, and in any and every instance and situation where I can make sure that doesn't happen, I make sure that doesn't happen. And this is one of them, right? So what I ended up doing is I had an offsite, like going away. It wasn't anything formal, but I had like certain people that I love and care about, and people that I wanted in my space. Like we made it, we kept it super low key. My supervisor wanted to tell the leadership. I'm like, no, like. What we not gonna do? I mean, you can let certain people know, like, because if you have to like do something so you're not getting in trouble, like in the sense it's like fraternizing or something with subordinates or things of that sort. Yeah, feel free to tell, but like no one's coming. They're not invited. No, like no, don't be sending out no emails and things of that sort. No, I'm gonna let the people know I want to be there. Who gonna be there? Like that's what we gonna do, right? And so it's like that. That's how I had it, right? And we had an amazing time. We went to one of my favorite places and really have a blast. And it's like, yeah, good times, right? Great times. But again, I was not about to be involved with these rent a crowds. Like I'm cool on that, y'all. And unfortunately, that's one of the that's one of the military staples in my eyes, right? Like I can't get with that, y'all. Um, so matter of fact, I want to get into one of the things I was going to kind of talk about this later, but since I'm here, I'm just going to go on to this part. Like, so y'all, like one of the things when recognizing your personal boundaries is you recognizing when you say yes, like out of obligation or perceived obligation, right? Because some of the things like y'all not really obligated to do XYZ, but you're feeling like you're obligated to do XYZ, rather than something that you really genuinely desire, right? To me, I genuinely desire to only have the people that I rock with and care about, and I know that rock with and care about me, like at my going away celebration, right? So, but I know like so many people in the military who was in or who were in the military, like they kind of like go along to get along in this case, like they like okay, we're gonna have this little rent a crowd thing to kind of feel obligated to have certain types of ceremonies because the military said so. Like, I don't know, like I'm just different, I thank God. But I'm just like, no, that just wasn't me, right? That's just not me. to just do these things just because. Like, y'all, no, we got to make it make sense, y'all. Like, we got to make it make sense. And to me, that makes no sense. Like, I don't want anything to do with a rent a crowd. Now, so some of the things for you, y'all, like, what is, like, make a list, right? Make a list of some of those things that you're currently doing that you say yes to because you felt obligated to do it, or you felt, again, you felt obligated. You weren't necessarily obligated, right? Because there's a difference. There's some things we're obligated to do, and then some things that we perceive as obligations. Like, for example, like, just popped in my my hair. Like, I'm obligated to take care of my responsibilities, like my mortgage and things of that sort. Like, that's an obligation assigned assigned there to make sure I'm paying, this loan and all this stuff, right? So taking care of the mortgage and stuff. Perceived obligations, like, some people feel like they have to, like, oh, now they perceive because I gotta, okay, oh, let me just slow down and go back a little bit. Let's say I just bought a new house, right? I'm obligated to pay for the mortgage and things of that sort. But some people perceive that they're obligated to have a housewarming party, invite all these different people over and all these different things, because that's the thing to do, like, because you have that, or you feel like you're obligated to invite certain people that you don't even want to invite, or you feel obligated to go places and hang out with certain people, or go places where people that you don't necessarily rock with will be, because you feel obligated to another person to do that. Like, y'all, I'm just not with that. And I want you to recognize, like, those areas where you're doing this. Like, some of you have, like, certain little speckles of boundaries there that you might put in place. Like, for example, you might go to an event that you don't necessarily want to be at because you felt obligated to be there. Again, you likely we're not, but you felt obligated to be there. Now you're at their event, but you're only socializing with certain people, right? So that to there, like, in that space, you recognize that boundary there. Like, you went, but you have only, certain areas you might hang out at when you're at the event. Like, about that. Like, then it's a whole nother thing. But I'm just like, y'all, we can avoid so many different things if we just took a different approach. But anyway, but recognizing your boundaries there, because maybe you do go again and you just kind of only rocking with certain people, and it is known that way. Like, I'm just like, man, that just creates an environment that's just it's not the best. I'll say it like that. It's not the best. It might not be any super animosity and things of that sort, but people gonna know when you standoffish and stuff, right? So now, like, that's part of what you're doing. Again, it might not be healthy and effective, but you have that in place there. You know what I'm saying? So look, y'all, that's one of the things, how in a way you can recognize your boundaries in that space. But again, y'all, I want you to, once you do this and you recognize them, like, again, make a list. You make this list of the things you feeling obligated to say yes to, the things you have already said yes to. I want you to identify as well, is this healthy for you? Is this really effective for your life as well? Like, make it make sense. Okay. Like, write these things out and make it make sense, y'all. Also, right, when it comes to recognizing your boundaries, like, I want you to think about those things that really make you, like, feel drained, right? Like me, like, certain phone conversations, or certain people would call my phone, and it's like, it's draining. Like, why did I even answer? Like, things that's not my case now. Let me just make that clear. Back then, right, I was answer people calls because I'm like, if people calling, it might be, might be something. I give them a chance. But once I feel like, oh, this is something that make me feel drained, and then recognizing that I'm not answering the phone for them as much, right? Recognizing my personal boundaries there. And now, like, yo, if they calling, look, I'm gonna just let it ring or send it to voicemail. Like, what we not gonna do, right? Because I recognize that this thing is making me feel drained. Like, it's no life in this conversation and things of that sort. So I'm just not gonna associate with that way. But it's like, before I actually, again, y'all, I just live a certain lifestyle, but recognizing that was a boundary I had, right? So I continue to implement those things and put those things in place. Like, it's very rare that any of my phone calls after I'm just drained. Like, I can't even think of one, honestly, for however long, for these many years, and especially the things I've implemented in addition to that, because even people I love and care about, and they call me with things that may not be so good. Okay, cool, let me know, we're gonna help you through this situation, but what we gonna do for me, right? We're gonna put these things in place. Now I need you to tell me these things, these three good things and things of that sort, right? Like I mentioned that before. That's just one of the things that I actively practice because I believe it's so important to protect my peace. Right, y'all. I talked about last week why boundaries are important. Emotional exhaustion. A lot of you are feeling emotionally exhausted, not even for your own stuff. You're overwhelmed by other people's stuff. Like it's some of your stuff, but it's like now you've made it your thing because like this is what you've done. You've been taking on so much. Now you feel like, oh, it's mine now. It's my project now. It's for me to deal with. It's my situation. Like when it's really not. Right. Again, there's yes to those things that you feel obligated to do and things of that sort. Like we got to recognize the difference. Like it's important for you and your sanity to recognize the difference and recognize your personal boundaries here, right? So y'all, yeah. I want to like get into I want to I guess continue here. I'm getting ahead of myself, so let me just slow down a little bit. All right. So also from some of those things that make you like feels like super uncomfortable, right? Y'all, like mentioned, like going to an event and then now you're only socializing with the people that you really rock with, but then the vibe is kind of off in the situation, right? Like those type of things, like recognizing those things. Like was that effective for you to do it that way, or what you could have done is just not go and feel at peace at home or wherever else you want it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like just y'all recognize these things, right? Also some of those things that y'all this the one, because people don't even necessarily identify it in this way, but I notice what it is. Like in some of those situations and things that make you feel resentful, like man, you've taken on so much, or you say yes to all these different things that you really wanted to say no to because it wasn't something you genuinely desired to do or be a part of, right? Like help me, Holy Spirit, okay? Okay, into some of that. Like, but like now you're starting to feel resentful and you're recognizing like okay, this is a problem. Or you're not. Well, yeah, you're recognizing this is a problem. I know you because you I don't believe a person can feel resentful and feel good. Like I don't believe they both can exist. Like I know you can be happy and you can be sad in certain situations. You can be joyful and you can also grieve in certain situations and things of that sort. I don't believe a person can have all this resentment in their heart and really really be about that life, like this happy and joyful. Like I don't really you can I don't believe you can really experience true joy and happiness, like true, like that peace, right? That's peace that surpasses all understanding too, even but just being resentful and whatnot. Like I'm just saying. So just recognizing these things where in these situations or in these relationships when you're feeling this way, or like it's being a part of you and you're not feeling like yourself, right? It's a problem, right? So making sure that you're doing something about these things, right? So again, one of the things that you can do, like some of the things that might come to your mind right now, I mentioned some of these words. I'm thinking about feeling drained. Some stuff popped in your head, right? Write those things down, and right next to it again, is this helping, hurting? Is this helpful? Is this healthy and effective? Like what is it? Like write these things down. The uncomfortable situations, there's something or someone you might be feeling resentful towards right now. Right, write that stuff out so like you can see it, really really see it. And I believe when you see it in that way, you can do something about it. Like you'll be more inclined to do something about it, right? Because what we don't want is just for you to just be this way and just let it be like, okay, well, life goes. No, you deserve so much better in your life, and it's really time to get that. Like let's do this, okay? Like man, I want the best for you. I want you to live a life full with more joy, more peace, more happiness, truly in the most abundant form. Like truly, y'all. All right, okay, y'all. Because I'm gonna be getting out of here shortly. But also, y'all, Yep. Like this the one last week I talked a bit when I talked about why boundaries are important, talking a bit about eliminating that stress and anxiety and things of that sort, right? And like y'all, so so one of the things I want you to pay attention to when you recognizing your personal boundaries is paying attention to your physical reactions, right? That stress is a physical reaction, right? Anxiety is a physical reaction. The tightness in your chest, like, oh, you start to, that's a physical reaction. And it's important, y'all, that something should be inserted there to avoid all this. Right, I'm just saying, y'all. Like that's the only avoidance we doing, putting things in place so we don't even have to deal with certain things like this, right, y'all? And I remember a time, I believe I probably talked about this in an earlier episode. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna just share this here because it's super relevant. And it's like, y'all, when I recognize, like, okay, so there was this time when someone was invited to come to um, the home, right? Come to the home and stay for a short period of time, but like maybe it was like a week or so. I don't know how long it was. I didn't invite them, right? Just they wasn't invited by me. But I'm just saying, but I respect it because it's someone that that's loved and cherished in a certain way, right? But yeah, so someone was invited, and I realized that um because I've had um a previous encounter with this person and them spending some time at at my place or at our place, it's just like, man, it wasn't the greatest experience, right? So, and that's the only thing I had to go off of, and I knew it was a horrible enough experience to not want it again. So we're moving to a new location, and this person got invited to spend some time at the crib again. I'm just like, about that. Like, initially I didn't know about it, but when I found out, I'm like, okay, let me think. I took some time to like think things through, and I kind of like let it feel, like, see how I will really feel about this, right? And because I didn't just want to just jump off and just like, no, absolutely not. And I'm gonna tell y'all the general rule for sure is if someone coming to visit, someone want to come to town and visit, yo, come through. Feel free, come through and visit. But what you gonna do? Make sure you get an Airbnb or hotel, and we can link up at some other times. Like I can come to the Airbnb or hotel, or you can come to my place. But making sure that you're staying at the Airbnb or hotel, maybe close by. We'll make sure it's close by, but just not in the physical home. Like it just, that's the general rule, and just what we not gonna do, right? So that rule like applies to like 99.999% of the people, right? But it was just I was yeah, I was gonna make a slight exception, right? Like, because of who and what this person meant, you know, not to me necessarily, but okay. Anyway, y'all, but I'm like, when I recognized that, I started feeling this anxiety and all these things that just wasn't used to. I'm just like, no. Like this is my home. I pay bills here. Like, I shouldn't be feeling this uncomfortable in my home because someone is coming, and like me anticipating their arrival is causing me so much anxiety. Like, anxiety, I'm not used to being anxious, like literally be anxious for nothing. Yeah, I'm used to following that and not being anxious about anything. And when I recognized this thing was bringing me anxiety, and it was, I guess, kind of stressful, it was leading to that, I'm like, oh no, I gotta shut this down right now. Okay, come here, meeting, house meeting. What we not gonna do, they can't come. They're not invited to stay here. Come through. More than welcome. They're more than welcome to come visit the city, but they got to stay somewhere else, because in the home, like, that gave me so much. Like, I could feel it in my chest, y'all. Like, and if you in a situation when you feeling that, like, there's some situations that happen and you start to feel this anxiety and this stress and this, what, like, oh, alert. Insert a boundary here, or recognizing that that's where normally you have a boundary. Like, again, you might have some type of boundary that you might be crossing. Like, to me, I told y'all I already had things in place. What we not gonna do is that. But just when I thought about making that exception for this person, I'm like, like, even me going against my own, like, that's a problem. That's a problem, because it wasn't helpful. The healthier, more effective way is the way it's already laid out and designed to be. Don't come through. I promise you, I want you to come visit. Come visit. Hang out. You just make sure you find some place to stay too. Stay close by so we can hang out as late and whatever, and you ain't gotta drive too far. But man, in the crib though, it's not gonna happen, y'all. So again, yeah, pay attention to that stuff, y'all. It's important. All of it's important. So I really want you to recognize your personal boundaries, right? Right? Like, it's, oh child, like, just thinking about that stuff. But y'all, it's like, it's real. Y'all, I told y'all last week, you're not listening to the episode, go back and listen. But like I told y'all, like, people die from stress. And what I'm not about to do is die from stress, especially like stress, something that's stressful, like that brings stress on dealing with others. Like, no, are you kidding me? No way. Like, I'm no, yeah, I'm eliminating that stress. Like, what we not gonna do is that, and then soon as I let that out, like, let that be known, oh, immediate relief, like, just a weight lifted off my shoulders, like, no tightness. I just felt free as a bird. And y'all, for you, most of this stuff, like I'm telling you, when you put these healthy and effective boundaries in place and making sure that you're utilizing them and standing firm on those ones, like making sure you're doing that, man, your life can be so much easier. Like, your life will be so much peaceful, so much more peaceful, joyful. Like, you experience so much more happiness. Like, this is where people are messing up, y'all. You might be one of those people. This is I'm talking directly to you. This is where you're messing up. This is where you're messing, not putting this in place, not following what you say you're gonna do. Right? You already have these certain things in place, but then you let in some perceived obligation change all that for you. Like, no, when you write these things out, you can see, like, is this really, really what I need to be doing? Like, yeah, if I'm obligated to pay my mortgage, y'all. If I don't, it's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna be evicted or something, right? Whatever happens when you don't pay your mortgage, I'm not used to that. I take care of my obligation. And not just perceived ones, right? I'm just saying, y'all, like, really write these things out and say what is really your obligation and what is really perceived to be your obligation. All right, y'all. That's like, I think that's one of the major ones that really be rocking people, and what I really see, because people, I mentioned this before. I mentioned this in a couple of different interviews and different people on different people's podcasts and workshops and summits, all these different things, like places I've made like certain appearances on. It's just, but I really do believe this, like, y'all, like, I believe I mentioned here on my podcast too. But anyway, just all fires aren't your fires. Like, even firefighters have assigned fire districts. Okay, like, everything ain't for you to be taken care of and handling. It's okay. They gonna be all right. All right, y'all. Like, I'm getting out of here. I had a couple of things to take care of. So, y'all, but oh man, I pray that this episode really bless somebody's soul, bless their heart. Like, like something here really clicked for you. Like, that's the goal. I pray that it really clicked for you, and that you're to a point where you will do something about it, because it's not enough for it to just click for you. We need you to eliminate those things, right? Because I know it's causing you stress. I know it's bringing you that anxiety. Like, what we not gonna do, y'all. Let's rectify that right now. Right now. All right, y'all. Okay, that's it. I'm getting out of here. So, look, y'all. Take some time out today to follow us on Instagram at Boundaries and More Podcast on Instagram. Again, that's at Boundaries and More Podcast on Instagram, y'all. Oh man, y'all. I'm just, yeah. Man, thank you, God. Okay, y'all. So also, I want y'all already know what I'm gonna say, but I mean it, right? And I'm gonna say it every time. Yo, I want you to go out today, and have an amazingly beautiful day. Enjoy the rest of your week and be back here next week for more Boundaries and More with Jas Abraham. Talk to y'all then.